So welcome to this video. This is the second part of my OpenHistoricalMap video series, I guess. I might do a third part, I haven't decided yet. But in the first part you got a bit of an overview of how it works and how great it is and all that. I think it's a great educational tool. And I actually, when I cycled through or into Kilkenny the other day after doing this for 2 nights in a row, I saw the town different, because I was aware of the history before that, but because I had it mapped, I kind of experienced it different. So maybe you'll get that feeling too when you're doing this. And if not, that's also fine. So we're in Youghal again. And before I start, I want to point out a really good resource. Probably not good for this kind of work because there might be a copyright issue. So I warned you, don't do it. It's the Irish Historic Town Atlas, and you'll find it on ria.ie. This is the Royal Irish Academy. And it's a great series. I've only seen the one for Kilkenny, which was done by John Bradley, one of our famous sons of the city. And it's great. It gives you names of streets through the centuries, looking at all kinds of sources and certain amenities like town halls and so on. So it's a really, really interesting one. And you might get it through your library, I don't know. Or you can buy it on ria.ie. I'm not doing this for them. I just think it's a great resource. And even if you can't use it for OpenStreetMap, which I'm pretty sure you can't, it's great to just look through. And if you're a student looking for a research project, that's something you can do, or a great source for that. And they're publishing new ones all the time. The latest one is Rathmines. There is one for Youghal, as you can see here. I will start with the town walls in Youghal, which were built in 1274 according to Wikipedia. Gonna have to believe that. And Youghal has one of the longest, if not the longest, town wall in Ireland. So you see that black line here, and I've chosen the OpenStreetMap layer. So this is not mapped, this is just the background layer. The coastline is mapped, so when I hover over that, you'll see that my cursor changes, and also down where I did the town hall earlier. So I'm just going to do the town wall. So I'm using my line tool, and I'll just start here and try to follow it as best I can. It's very difficult to see where there are little corners in it. This is obvious, but other ones aren't so obvious. I walked along here when I was in Youghal, and there was a benchmark right there. I presume it went down that way somewhere, because it had to surround the town. But I'll just stop there by hitting the escape key. And then I still have that on the left, in the left menu. I just click on that. And you see these little triangles on one side, and that means that's the outside. So if you do that for your town and they're on the wrong side, they have to point outwards of town, you just go right click on the line and use this reverse key. And that'll just reverse it. And now it's wrong here, so I'm just reverse again. And the start date is 1275. And I will try to find out where the rest went. And I'll use the British War Office map and hope that it's on that, or at least a few more parts. But of course they're gone now, so I would start a new line for them and put a different end date on it, if I can find it. So that's the town wall done. It's made of stone. And I can see if I can find the height. Wall. Sorry about that. So here we have that date. That's the first record of the walls. That could mean they're older. And I should also add the source for that. There's more here. I can't go into all of that now. Can't find how tall it is. Not that important. So next I will do the Clocktower, which is down here somewhere. Here. this building here. And I highly recommend, if you go to Youghal, to do the guided tour in the Clocktower. Shirley is great doing that. What am I looking for? Gate. City Gate. Because it was one of the city gates. Even though it's not a city. And the date here is, I took a note of that, 1777. And that's from 1777 to 1837, I think. Yeah, because she told us about the 1798 rebellion and people being imprisoned there, and way too many people. So, sorry, that's the end date. That happened to me before. Start date, 1777. Oh, source Wikipedia. I have to do that for here as well. Source OSM and Wikipedia. Back here, and the source here is also OSM because I traced around what was here already. So it was a jail from 1777 and also a clock tower all the time, throughout the time when it was a jail. A jail from 1777 to 1837. So what I can do now is, because it changed its use over time, I'll use a point and set that there, and then I'll type jail, prison grounds, as good as it gets. So 1777 to 1837. And then it was used as a house from, did I do that wrong? No, from 1837 to 1959. So what I could do here is building, I add a new building tag, but I use the life cycle thing. So colon, and then I use the dates 1837 to 1959, and the building type then was house. And then I guess I could add amenity museum or tourism museum, whatever the key is. But I would have to find out when it was turned into a museum, so I won't do that now. Maybe the people in Youghal, the people who do the tours, want to do that. So that's the clock tower. There is probably a Wikipedia article for it. No. Next one is this Tynte's Castle. I haven't a clue how to pronounce it. That was one of the first things I saw when I stepped off the bus from Dungarvan in Waterford. Here. And it's also accessible to the public, I believe. It wasn't when I was there because COVID. So again, I'll just follow that here. And this is a castle. Common name, Tynte's Castle. And it is Tower House. And what's the date there? I'll see in Wikipedia. Just open a new tag. That's what it looks like. Lovely. I'll add the Wikipedia. So down here, Wikipedia. And I have to start with EN colon, of course. And it said here somewhere where it was built. When? In the late 15th century. So that's of course not great because I can't put late 15th century under start date. So I'll go with 1480 because that's kind of late. And in the description, I'll just explain description dated to late 15th century. Full stop. I've done similar things in Kilkenny where I couldn't get the date, but I looked at Rogue's map, 1758, the French cartographer, and it's very blurry, the version I found online that was public domain, but I could kind of make out what was on it, and I could see certain buildings that are gone now, so I I put that in the description, still on Rogue's map in 1758, which is difficult to do dates. And then source Wikipedia OSM. And this historic civilization is medieval. You can also add access if you want to. I won't go into that now. So that's the next house. And then we have the Almshouse, which is here. There's a plaque on it. So it was built in 1602. So because several people lived in it, I would maybe classify it as an apartment house. So apartment building. I don't know, it's not very historical, but it's better than nothing. So start date 1602, and we'll look here. It's here somewhere. Almshouses. The 17th century almshouses were constructed by Richard Boyle, 1st Earl of York, in 1602 for widows. So there we have the date. And there are people still living in them, so there's no reason to put an end date on it. The plaque just explains more of the history, and if you wanted to use the plaques, which I also did for Kilkenny a bit, because not actually Kilkenny, but Grattan, because I had gone and mapped all the plaques at an earlier point. Because you don't have access from within OpenHistoricalMap, just go to openstreetmap.org. I hope I haven't you completely confused by now. And then when you go to the layers, and I might have covered that up with my face there while recording, go to map data, and then you can click on that node, and this says 1810. Well, this is confusing now. What are we going to do about that? That's a very different date now. We'll stick with 1602, will we? That's roughly the dates the almshouses in Kilkenny were built, so I'll stick with that. Maybe leave a note. Built in 1810 according to plaque. In Grattan, where I used plaques for the information, I gave that as a source. And the city is Youghal. That's really fine-tuning. So we have the start date. We don't have an end date because they're still there. Common name, I guess, just almshouses. Sources, Wikipedia, plaque. Ooh. And I think there are 5 units now, so I'll just put that in there. Because you see, I added the house numbers. The 1, 2, 3 didn't have house numbers in the front, but the 4 and 5 did, so there we go. And what you can also see here, because I mapped a lot of the walls, I guess it was me, is the Burgage-Platz, or that kind of layout that goes back to Norman times. So the next one on the list is the Red House, which is also here. And there's another plaque, so I'll just zoom in on that. This is a house, and the name is, I lost that name. You'll never guess why it's called the Red House. The start date here, completed in 1703. That is the start date, not the end date. Source Wikipedia. Doesn't have its own Wikipedia article. There might have been a mention of an architect on the plaque. Just have to be able to click it. No, I didn't take a picture of the plaque, unfortunately. So whoever is in Youghal, please, if there's an architect mentioned, I kind of think there was. you can add that to here, just under architect. Next one is the lighthouse, which is of course by the sea down here. And there have been loads of lighthouses in Youghal, but the one that's there now is here. And I'll just start tracing ye olde OpenStreetMap and see if there is a tag for lighthouse. They've thought of everything. And then because I'm not a psychopath, I can't draw perfect circles. I'll just highlight it and hit the O key, and OSM is a psychopath, so alright, to break it to you. So the lighthouse was built in 1848, and my notes tell me that there is an architect for it. George Halpin. And there's no link for him, so I guess he doesn't have a Wikipedia article. That's a shame. Architect. I'm a bit confused why this says architect and on OpenStreetMap it's architect : name. But I'll go with that. I'll just see if he has one. He does. So we can add, architect Wikipedia EN : George Halpin. And then Grattan Street. So that's interesting because I haven't done any of the streets yet. But when I was in Youghal, I discovered that there was a plaque in Grattan Street, and it's only this bit here. Probably between McDonald's Quay and Pottimer's Quay. So I use the line tool, draw a line, and then have to decide what kind of a road it is. I'll use this one. And when we go to Grattan Street on OpenStreetMap, move. There is the plaque. It just has to load. So 17, I did transcribe that one. 1782, with permission of the town commissioners, this slab has been erected to commemorate the opening 100 years ago of this street in honor of Henry Grattan, the champion of Irish legislative independence. 1882. So in 1882 is when they erected the plaque, but it refers to 1782. So that's when they built the road, the street. So we can put 1782 there. And then, of course, the name, that's very important for a street. Source, plaque, as I said earlier, you can use that. And yeah, I won't use a Wikipedia link or anything. What else do I have on my list? St. Mary's Collegiate Church, the best thing about Youghal, in my humble opinion. It's up here. So now it is kind of this shape. It's probably not perfect, but of course it started off much smaller, and that's what's really exciting, I think, if you can find the information with churches, because they've been added to all the time if they're old enough, and this is 13th century, so that's pretty old for a church. It started off as, according to Wikipedia, St. Declan's Church in 450. Of course, now I don't know where that was. I would presume maybe in this part. So I'm just gonna chance it and draw a small rectangle. I presume it was rectangular. Much smaller. And church, Christian church, building. I just changed that to church. And the name is Saint Declan's church. And the start date is 450. And to make it properly rectangular, I doubt they did that, but anyway. And the alignment, because churches are usually aligned to the east, I'll just keep that one, even though it is quite possible. St. Mary's patron day is the 15th of August. And when they say east, they mean where the sun rises. And of course, it rises in a different place on the 15th of August than whenever St. Declan had his feast day. If it was March, it would be maybe down here somewhere. But I'm just going to go with this for now and leave a description. Estimated alignment and size. So this is 450. And then they built a new one in 750. So I'll put as end date here 750. This is all a bit, winging it. So I'll just draw around this because I presume the second one was a bit bigger. Same alignment still. And again, it's a Christian church. And the start date is 750. And then they built the big one there in 1220. So I put end date here as 1220 and just make it proper square and call it also Saint Declan Church. So now this one is definitely Catholic, so Roman Catholic. Well, actually it probably wasn't Roman Catholic, probably was just Catholic. And same here. I'm not an expert on church history. There's probably some synod where they decided to go with the Roman Catholic thing. So I'll just put this under Catholic. And then at this one I could have just made a video of just this, couldn't I? And there might have been smaller cells for St. Declan's friends around at the time, but I guess it's impossible to find out. So again, Christian church. Square it up by hitting the Q key. And start date is 1220. And the name is Collegiate Church of Saint Mary. Source OSM. I just want to copy this to the second church as well, description. Back to the big one. So start 1220. Let's see if I say she, well, it's St. Mary. Collegiate Church there. Has its own Wikipedia, so we add that. Wikipedia, en : paste. Let's see, it's now Anglican, that's where I was getting at. So let me just browse this to see when it changed. Look, the name changed in 1464. So, and it has a proper date on it. Well, that's exciting. We'll do that. So we go back to name 1220. And just delete the first bit and change it to St. Mary's Church. And then name 1464, was it? 17th of December. St. John's Day. I thought that was like in June. Anyway. Name, I'll just leave it at that. And then I'll just paste that of Saint Mary. Okie doke. It seems to have been 1709 when it changed denominations. 1709. So we can do that. Still not a church. Religion Christian. And then oops, where's it gone? Denomination. Not denotation. Denomination. 1220 to 1709. Roman Catholic. See, the the autocomplete doesn't work when you use the life cycle tags. And then the denomination 1709 Anglican. What should I do there? Oh, I must have accidentally added a note. But never despair. I'll show you what you can do. You see how you have this in the table format? That's what I usually use. And now I would have to copy every single line into the area. I don't want to do that. Life's too short. But what you can do is you click on this little thing here. And that's changed it to text view. And it gives you just one window like in your notepad. And you can just highlight everything. Cut. And then highlight your area. And paste them underneath everything else. And then you can change it back to the table format. And there it is. And then you have to, of course, delete that node. There's that. So that's that church done. Yeah, I think that's enough for today. It's probably way too long already. What you can also do then is try to use the British War Office map, which is 1940. It's still not terribly historic, but it might give you stuff. Give you names or something. It might have more of the town wall left. I haven't checked this beforehand. Probably the town wall went along here. Because they say that the town wall was outside the town. The town hall was outside the town wall. So there are more churches along here. There's a Methodist church. Might be able to find out when that was built just writing to them. I couldn't find anything online. I looked yesterday. Yeah, it's very blurry. It's very difficult to use the British War Office map for this. Sorry about that. So I'll just save this. Said added buildings and street. I hope I haven't forgotten any sources. OSM, Wikipedia, plaques. And upload. And it'll take a while, of course, as usual. And I'll wait a couple of minutes to help it generate all the data. And then we'll go on a little time travel. Again, I've waited a few minutes for it to settle, and I've gone down in the timeline back to 400, just before St. Declan's cell, I guess, was built. And then at the end date, I'll use 1900. And I'll go with the fast forward, so we go, every step is 10 years. So we should see St. Declan's, the first church, first. I haven't tried it, so I hope everything comes out. And then we'll see how Youghal develops a little bit. There it is. So not much happening now. Of course there was a Viking settlement in Youghal as well, but I don't know where, because I'm not an expert on Youghal. Or Irish history in general. But we're getting to the second church now. They're a little bit bigger. Should have zoomed in on that. Fast forward 300 years. Life's too short. There we have the St. Mary's Church and the town wall. Should get Tynte's castle soon. Tynte? I still don't know. There it is. And then the Almshouses next. There. And I was trying to add, what's it called, Myrtle Grove, where Sir Walter Raleigh lived, but I couldn't figure out when it was built, so I didn't add it. I have to leave something for the people of Youghal to add to the map. There's Grattan Street and the tower, the Clocktower. It had the little prison symbol there for a while, but that's gone. And it stopped in 1898. So I didn't add an awful lot, but you can see that's how it works, and I hope you can add more to Youghal or wherever you live, and it doesn't have to be restricted to Ireland, of course. You can do that anywhere. Paris has done a great job on it already, and some parts of Germany are well done. That's the only places I checked out. A lot of railway stuff has been done because they're a bit nerds, but that's fine. It's very interesting. Wouldn't be my cup of tea, but there is a lot of information out there on Wikipedia, even on Irish railways, and I might do another video adding the railway station in Youghal, which used to be down here, and some of the railway tracks. There's the Lighthouse, by the way, and I haven't decided yet, so if I do, you'll get that next in the recommendations. And thank you for watching. I know it's been a long video, but I added a few details, and I wanted to make sure you get how great this is and get inspired to do it yourself. So thanks for watching. You can subscribe to my channel, or you can follow me on Facebook, OSM for History Buffs, and I'm always happy about new followers. And if you have suggestions, please reach out, and I'll try to do my best with the little time I have. Thanks very much for watching. Bye!